Ken. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Namaste, namaskar. I am very delighted and honored to be talking with you today. And I would like to first thank the UNEP's office in India for taking this initiative and running it in the continent of India. And thank, of course, the United Religions Initiative, who I would have never asked for a better partner to work with, not only in India, but at the global level. Friends and eminent leaders and colleagues, you all know that we are going through unprecedented global issues, whether economic, social, or environmental. And we have been going through these issues for quite some time. And in the previously 15 years ago, we thought of launching a campaign to bring the people together, to bring the international community, and we launched the Millennium Development Goals. But unfortunately, after 15 years of trying to implement the Millennium Development Goals, we have discovered that we are not addressing the proper and correct issues that we need to address, and specifically talking about environmental issues, because the economic development and some improvements in the lives of the people that have been witnessed over the past 15 years were on the expense of the environment. Therefore, the United Nations system with the international community and with the signatures of 193 leaders of the world have signed on the Agenda 2030 and the SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, this is a very ambitious agenda for the international community. And it goes without saying that governments alone cannot work on its implementation and cannot achieve the goals that are aspired, including, issues on poverty, education, health, environment, peace and security, and so on. So we want everybody to be on board as members of the implementation team. And that has, to a great extent, included the private sector, civil society organizations, and so on. However, we have witnessed that we are missing a major sector of the community, or to say it bluntly, we are missing engaging a very powerful sector of the community, which is the faith actors, the faith leaders, and faith-based organizations. Especially that they, or all religions of the world, do address environmental issues very succinctly and very broadly on issues of the environment, water, climate change, pollution, and at least being in harmony or living in harmony with our planet and nature. Therefore, at UNEP, at the United Nations Environment Program in 2017, we launched the engagement strategy with faith-based organizations and faith leaders, and we called it the Faith for Earth Initiative. Now, the initiative has tackled three important global objectives. The first objective, which is what I have been saying, which is the engagement in the implementation of the SDGs, the empowerment, the integration, the inspiration that brings the faith leaders into the work on environmental issues. But we want to do that at the policy level, not only at the community level. Meaning we want to provide a platform for faith leaders and faith actors to come to the decision table on environmental issues. So we are providing the United Nations Assembly as a platform where faith leaders can discuss with decision makers, politicians, and so on, environmental issues and environmental policy. The second objective, which is building on the power of faith-based organizations and faith institutions, whether it is the power of outreach or the economic power. And we have, there are so many studies that say that the faith-based organizations and institutions are the fourth largest economic power on earth. So they do have the economic power to change things around. They do have, they do own assets that are very powerful. For example, they own 10% of habitable land on earth. They own 50% of educational institutions and so on and so forth. So these assets can be moved towards sustainability and contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals. The third objective that we have been working on, which is bringing the science and the scientific evidence to the service of faith leaders, meaning faith leaders do have their reference point, which are the scriptures, the sacred scriptures that they can rely on when they teach on living in harmony with nature. However, we want to provide the scientific evidence to back up these sacred scripts and educations that come out of the understandings and standards of religions. And we want to bridge this common understanding between sciences and faith leaders, which means we are bringing together two powerful arms for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and the Agenda 2030. Now, our mission is to inspire and empower and engage with faith leaders at the global level, regional level, and community level for the implementation, aiming to reach to a world where all creations live in balance. We have, in the past 3 or 4 weeks, held the United Nations Environment Assembly, which is the governing body of the United Nations Environment Program, which is the highest level authority at the international level, responsible for putting the policies and keeping the environment under review. In what we call UNEA, and this year we held UNEA 5, faith leaders have been able to meet with politicians from 193 countries and discuss certain issues related to the theme of UNEA, which is strengthening the nature-based solutions. Of course, you know that indigenous people, the indigenous knowledge, faith organizations have been for centuries and for millennia providing support to local communities on issues of livelihoods and poverty and health and so on. However, we are now strengthening their contributions into providing their insights and experiences on nature-based solutions from faith perspectives. According to UNEP, we are facing 3 planetary crises: the pollution crisis, the climate change crisis, and the ecosystem crisis. Climate change is taking the center stage of importance at the global level, but also we have gotten to know that we are facing the risk of the extinction of 1 million species in the coming 20 years if we do not take action. And pollution is leading to hundreds of millions of deaths over the period, and at least 5 million deaths per year of children below the age of 5. So these are tremendous challenges that we are facing. And UNEP has started its work, and the UNEP Assembly, UNEA, has endorsed its midterm strategy, which addresses these 3 planetary crises. As UNEP is a science-based organization and depends on science for its work, we also are working on integrating religions and faith as another evidence-based and a driver for the implementation of these actions towards tackling these crises. And currently we are working on a strategy for ecosystem restoration, as this year marks the first year of the decade of ecosystem restoration. So we have come up with a strategy for engaging with faith-based organizations. Now, lastly, what I would like to say or mention is that this year we will be launching the Faith for Earth Coalition, which is a global coalition composed of 4 important pillars that will strengthen our action, and not only strengthen it, but institutionalize it within the UN system. The first pillar is the Council of Eminent Faith Leaders. We want to bring the highest level faith leaders on a frequent basis, not only to call for action, but to show commitment of actions on tackling these challenges. The second council, excuse me, the second council is the Council of Young Leaders, and to mobilize this humongous power of youth in addressing environmental issues. So we will be launching councils at the local level, at the regional level, but also at the global level, in a global movement, mobilizing millions of young leaders to tackle these issues. The third council is the Council of CEOs of faith-based organizations, where they are already doing some work at the local level everywhere, but we want these actions to be sustainable. So we are bringing them in a consortium to tackle these issues sustainably. And the fourth council is the council that brings together scientists and faith leaders to provide the world with the scientific evidence, but also the moral value and values and standards that are brought about by religions and by faith leaders. I reiterate again that we are putting a lot of emphasis on our work in India. India is a major contributor at the global level in discussions and in showing the lead in addressing environmental issues. So I rely on your leadership, on your wisdom, and in your actions with our friends and colleagues at the India Country Office to take this further and to be a model for other national programs around the world. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I am looking forward to listen to each and every one of you. Thank you very much.